Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Civil Gore Podcast. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian, and we are back. Or into, I don't know if we're in the further, we went back to the further. I guess we could say the proper thing is for the first movie, we went back into the further because we're going to discuss the first of the two prequels, I guess, of the Insidious. It would be funny if, like, Lynn Shay came out and she goes, yeah, back with me, something like that, but I don't know. I didn't do a good Lynn Shay. No one could do Lynn Shay. That's why they had to dub her own voice in for her younger self.
That's right. Even the professional actor couldn't do Lynn Shay.
Because Lynn Shay is Lynn Shay.
That's right. This one, so I was really excited to talk about part 3 because I have to justify where I placed it in my ranking. But Insidious Chapter 3 came out in 2015, directed by Leigh Whannell, which I thought was cool because he's Specs in the first two movies. But and what a I love him. I love that his directorial debuts have been successful. Good on him.
You notice that each one he's done that his debut of
he's done really well.
Good.
But anyway, so this one stars Dermot McDillett as Sean Brenner.
And he's almost like the Dermot Mulroney in this we like from like that crazy Thanksgiving one where he gets mad and eats pie.
Yeah. So no, we're joking. It's Dermot Mulroney as Sean Brenner, or is it Dylan McDermott? You can't be too sure.
It could be McDermotty. I don't know. There's just you will never know.
Stephanie Scott is Quinn Brenner. Angus Sampson is Tucker. Leigh Whannell is back as Specs. Lynn Shay, of course, is back as Elise Rainier. Tate Burney is Alex Brenner. Michael Reed McKay is the man who can't breathe. It's one of the highlights. I loved him.
Yes, that is one of the highlights. I love that term. Like it's it's such a they do a good job at the creepy names for people in this franchise. I will say that.
Which, by the way, the man who can't breathe is also my nickname last week when I had COVID.
Yeah, I know. Poor Tim. That's why we had to delay some of the episodes here.
Delay the recording. Steve Coulter is Carl and Haley Kiyoko is Maggie. A prequel set before the haunting of the Lambert family that reveals how gifted psychic Elise Rainier reluctantly agrees to use her ability to contact the dead in order to help a teenage girl who has been targeted by a dangerous supernatural entity. I really liked this one. I did not expect to I fully expected this was going to be number 3 on my ranking going in because I'd seen all these movies before. It had been a while, so I didn't remember much about this one. I fully expected, the prequel, this was going to be probably 3rd or 4th on the list. But I was kind of surprised at how much I enjoyed it. I think the change of pace after watching 1 and 2 back to back in the Lambert family was kind of refreshing. And I will say, Stephanie Scott as Quinn, I just really liked this father-daughter dynamic. And I think it's because I have a daughter the same age as Quinn was in this movie. I really that really gelled with me, like that whole father-daughter thing. I felt very protective of her. Like the whole thing,
she was really good too.
She was really good. Like I felt really sympathetic for her, which I don't really a lot in these movies. Like usually the teen girls in these movies are also often portrayed fairly or unfairly, are often portrayed as like whiny or difficult or angsty or emo. But she's not like that. She's just a good kid, and
very likable. Which is it's like honestly, like the I think that was kind of missing in the first 2 a little bit. Like the kids, they were kids. You like the baby was cute. You had the little boys, and they were
but you didn't really
kids,
know them.
But it wasn't like they didn't have enough of a personality. She is a full-fledged character that represents teens much better than normal movies represent them.
Exactly.
And that could be a credit to Leigh Whannell because she could have been that one-note teenage character. And I don't know if he was like, he noticed it and said, hey, no, this is what I want from you. This is how I want you to act. Because, I'd love to find out behind the scenes of that because that was one of the things that blew me away was how impressed I was with her in this movie.
Yeah, me too. Like I kept thinking, like, what else has she been in? Because like she's really believable, and I think you're right. Like I think teen girls and boys in movies are too often portrayed as the negative aspect of teenagedom, which is irritable, angsty, emotional. And I think that's a lot of times you see movies portray that, and they don't portray the positive side of them just being good kids. And a lot of times, I mean, I see Anna's friends. Like, these aren't like little brat kids. They're like really good kids. They're kind. They're supportive. They make good friends. Like, you don't see that represented enough in film, I don't think. And so it was kind of refreshing that kind of seeing that
Yeah.
kind of a character in the screen. I think it now Dermot Mulroney, I like him, but I wouldn't say that his portrayal of the father was like spectacular in any way, really. I like I mean, he was fine for what it was. I don't think I think she was the standout in terms of making that relationship come across more believable. I don't know that he was necessarily the driving force in that. He was fine, but yeah. So I don't know, something about it. Like, I felt very protective of her, and that like invested me into the movie because I felt very protective of her. So
Yeah. No,
yeah, I don't know.
I was gonna say Dermot Mulroney. I thought he was actually pretty good. I like because I thought he was like, you could tell he was like this father that was like just at a loss. Like he represented the lost father well. Like, and
Yeah,
maybe
that
that's
piece
what
of
you
it he
picked up
did.
on
Yeah,
too. You might have picked
yeah,
that up. That's why you got so extra protective. You're like, all right, well, he's not doing the job.
yes,
McDermott
exactly.
McDillamont is not doing the. It's not doing. I'm gonna make a tag and come in here and
Yes,
save this kid as a real father here. No,
like
but
fatherly instinct just takes over. Yeah,
yeah, no, but I what I liked about it too is like how many times have you seen, and you said something, you used the word moody, and that is so correct. Like what was the one I just watched? I think it's Clowns in a Cornfield, like a couple weeks ago, where like, it's how many times you see the father and the daughter not getting along, and she comes into a new town, or I mean, she's in the town, they lost their mother, but
yeah,
but the mother's lost and she's moody and resentful in this. They did a unique thing where they took a kid that's been through the same tragedy as her dad, but somehow has compartmentalized it in a way that she, like, still is kinda living out her dreams and is way like, kinda way more mature beyond her years, and it makes it a very likable character that you can relate to, and not one you just want, like, bad things to happen to. And in this, some bad shit happens to her, like, one of the jump scares was with I mean, spoiler alert, with the
yeah,
car, like, and I'm like, "Oh my god," like, I did not see that one coming for some reason, I don't
yeah.
know why,
She
you
didn't
figure
either.
you should've. But it startled me because, like, I was like, "Oh." But yeah, but I mean, and you felt for her, you got invested in her, and I don't have a daughter, but, I have a niece, so it's like, so, she's much younger, obviously, but the thing is, it's like, there's this, like, there's a likability about her that makes you, like, root for her and really get alongside her, and gives the movie an extra bit of depth that
Yeah,
it could have easily missed, and so many movies have missed that opportunity to
yeah.
give you a better character.
I can't stand the trope of the father that doesn't get along with the teenage daughter, and it is so common, and to me, I don't understand it because I get along great with my daughter. Like, we're like best buds. Like, we get along really well. So and I'm not saying that, oh, I'm the best dad ever. I get along. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that that type of antagonistic father daughter relationship, when I see it in movies, I don't understand it. It doesn't jibe with me, and it feels cliche. And I'm like, there's
Plus, they
other,
do it all the time. Every time,
they do
every
it so
so many horror
much. Yeah.
movies. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't
Uh-oh.
understand why that's like such a trope. Like, that's not real life. Like, it's not like fathers don't always butt heads with the daughter. In fact, it's more common that the daughters butt head with the mother is a more
Yeah.
I hear of more often. But anyway, that's beside the point. It suffice it to say, this movie kind of breaks that mold, and I really I to tell you how bad that trope is. I mean, both me and Brian noticed that this movie did not do that, which is saying
Yeah.
something. Like this was an anomaly when we saw this come out and go, oh my god, like the father actually cares for his daughter. Holy crap, she's not a
Yeah,
whiny little punk.
and you know what else they did too that's a little interesting? A lot of times, usually they'll have, like, the best friend character be just kind of just as obnoxious or more rebellious and kind of annoying. And they didn't do that this either. They gave her a good friend that was very supportive and
Yeah, which
so
I see every day in real life. Like, I see Anna's friends are like super nice kids. Like, they're not. Sometimes I think sometimes adults like trash the younger generation as being like these obnoxious, selfish, uncaring brats. And it's not what I see in real life.
yeah,
I just don't see that in real life. I look at these, a lot of these kids are hardworking, they're respectful, they're kind, they look after each other. I mean, that's, so it kind of is, it gets kind of irritating when you see it over and over and over in these movies where they're only
yeah,
playing up the negative aspects. But anyway, but yeah, I just enjoyed it. I like the man who can't breathe character demon is neat. It's an interesting character. It's scary. It's
yeah.
spooky. I thought it was like a great addition to get away from the red faced demon and the whatever else they've done in the first two Insidious
Because it would
movies.
make sense for him to be in there. It kind of I think it would
Yeah,
kind of if they used the same guy, the same villain from the first two, I think it would have diminished it and would have taken it away. And you're like, oh my God, are you going back to the same thing and it's still there
same,
years later?
yeah,
You would have
yeah. It
started
made sense. It
questioning
was a
things you
different,
don't
yeah,
shouldn't question, you know?
yeah. And so I've seen this one ranked surprisingly to me. I've seen this one ranked near the bottom from some
Really?
rankings. And I don't understand it because to me, I felt like this one I think while I do understand it from one aspect, I think one aspect of it is because the Lamberts aren't in it. So you're getting away from that core Insidious plot line. It of all the movies, it does stray the furthest away from the first
Yeah.
two movies.
You said furthest.
Those are the furthest. Okay, it strays the further away from the other movie.
Uh,
Anyway, so um I can see that aspect of it if you're like a stickler for this being a pure Insidious, the Lambert family franchise, that kind of thing. But to me, that was a strength that it got away from it because, like we've said, these movies get very formulaic, and when you can break away from that
Yeah,
formula, that's a good thing in my mind, not a bad thing. But I have seen this one ranked towards the last, and I don't get it.
I don't
Um,
get it. I like this
I
one a lot, actually.
I liked it a lot. I was surprised how much I liked it. Because I
Same.
did watch these in order. I watched, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I was fully expecting going in that I would not like this one as much as 2. And I was kinda surprised when I watched 2 because I was like, "This is not as good as I thought it was when I first saw it."
Yeah,
Then when I
I
saw
said
this,
the
I was like,
same thing. Yeah,
"This one's actually better than 2, I think." I think I actually like this one better. So good fa I'm curious what other people think that have watched this. Do you think, are
yeah,
you strictly, "No, this is inferior," or is there something kinda cool? I think it's Leigh Whannell's directing. I think that's what this is.
yeah. It might be.
James Wan directed number 2.
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from James Wan.
No, no, no. Of course not.
But what I'm saying is Leigh Whannell, I think, is such a good director that he elevated this movie far beyond what it probably should have been
But
in terms of.
he could be just really good with characters. Some directors
Yeah,
are just not good with characters. They don't understand the characters the way it was written, and they don't feed off of maybe the acting. I mean, we know enough directors and actors we could probably ask. How does that differ? But I mean, I just feel like yeah, like I feel like he really understood these characters, and that's why this movie works so well. I think
yeah,
you so often you give performances of just the cast without really saying, well, the director is there for a reason. The director is there to make sure these characters are portraying the right way. They may be a great performance, but if they don't fit for the film, that's where the director needs to fix that. And so he managed to make this, I think, did a really good job of making all these characters, kind of likable and where they needed to be and realistic, and it made for overall just I think a better movie. And it showed I like the development on how it showed Lin Shaye's, Elise character, how she kind of like, where her hesitance comes from and a little bit of her struggle. Then, obviously when we get to the next one, they go back even again further. Oh my
further.
God, the pun is just it's gonna just happen. I know we need like a horn or nah. But that's the thing is they go back further, and I don't think they needed to necessarily go back that far they could have touched on that in this movie more. But then again, I don't know if it might have broken up it might have broken up the the vibe of this one.
Yeah, because that
But again, I don't know. I just don't think we needed, like, we'll get into that when we talk about the 4th one, but I think there was just too much in the 4th one that I don't know if we needed to
it
know
was
it drawn
incredibly
out
dark.
that way.
The backstory of
Yeah.
Elise gets incredibly dark in the 4th one, and I think that would have
Yeah.
this one, chapter 3, it's weird to call it lighthearted because it's not a lighthearted
I was just
tone.
gonna say, I almost said that, and I'm like, I don't know if I could say
I don't know if I
lighthearted
can say
though
this,
of the
but
3rd one.
it's
So I
not
said vibe.
dark. Yeah, I don't wanna
Yeah.
say I would say, "Oh, it's" I don't even wanna say it's not dark because it's a freaking Insidious movie. Of course, it's dark,
Yeah.
and there's demons haunting a girl, but to me, it doesn't feel as, gosh, I don't know how to put it into words, but I think we can talk about it better when we talk about the next movie. The Last Key hits upon some very dark things that happen in real life,
Yeah.
whereas in Insidious Chapter 3, the dark things are supernatural elements, demons, and things that aren't so closely tied to, like, real world trauma. So, I think in that aspect, it's a little, quote, unquote, "lighter," even though it's still a horror movie. Um, but it still feels purely fictional,
Yeah.
and maybe that's where I think The Last Key kinda goes a little bit too far into the other direction, a little too
Yeah, I think we can
further
go
in the
right
other
into
direction.
that one. Yeah, we could
Yeah.
probably go right into that one now too, because I mean, there's not much more to say about 3 because it was that. I mean, it easily could have, like, if 1 didn't exist, I could see that being the top one, honestly, but
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious what other people think of 3. I'm really genuinely curious because I've seen the rankings of it. I have seen it ranked number 2. We are not alone. I think Screen Rant ranked it number 2.
oh, that's good, okay.
But I've seen other sites that have ranked it much lower, and I'm curious what you guys think about it. And yeah, so that brings us into Insidious: The Last Key. This one came out 3 years later, right on time. These seem to be 3-year intervals.
Yeah.
Just about 2018, directed by new director comes through, Adam Robitel. Lynn Shay returns as Elise Rainier. Leigh Whannell returns as Specs, and Angus Septon as Tucker, of course. Kirk Acevedo as Ted Garza. Caitlin Gerard as Imogen Rainier. Spencer Locke as Melissa Rainier. Josh Stewart as Gerald Rainier. Tessa Farrer as Audrey Rainier. And Bruce Davison as Christian Rainier. Parapsychologist Dr. Elise Rainier faces her most fearsome and personal haunting yet. She is drawn back to her ghostly childhood home where the terror began. So this one gets into, I think this was where this one kind of turned me off. And I didn't dislike this one. I will say I did not dislike this one. Because I thought it did really do a good job of, like, really
Yeah, no,
exploring Lisa's
I don't think,
backstory.
yeah, dislike is definitely a strong word. I just
Yeah.
didn't
I didn't like it as
I don't
much
know
as
if it
the
was
first 3.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But it gets into some really dark subject matter because we found out Elise was, like, not sexually abused, but, like, physically abused
yeah.
by her father in some, like, really intense scenes. Like, some of those were hard to watch,
Yeah, that
actually.
little actress that played her was really
Oh my
good.
gosh. I was thinking of that when I was watching those scenes. I was like, "Good gr like, she really get beat in real life because that girl knows how to portray
I know, and, like, to the
abuse
point of where it
victim."
was, like, uncomfortable. She was
Yeah,
so, it was like, I felt so bad.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, like, it was physically hard to watch, like, she was that good.
yeah,
But, yeah, this one got to some dark areas where we found out Lisa's been abused, and it keeps going back to this childhood home. She ends up getting drawn back to her childhood home because, a new resident who lives there now, and he's largely kept the place unchanged from when she was a child, is
could have
experiencing
been red
events of
flag, but okay.
yeah. But he's experiencing events, and now he's calling her help, and she reluctantly comes back home to deal with it. And so I like the story of this one. I thought as a prequel, it actually makes more sense as a true prequel than part 3 did.
Yeah,
Because part 3 kind of just touches on the Elise's backstory. This one actually really deep dives into it. I think it works better as a true prequel. But I don't know, to me, it felt a little too dark, and I don't think it was I think it kinda suffered a little bit from, what chapter 2 did, in which there was, like it was almost like they were just trying to pack in the scares because they were trying to make a Insidious movie, and they were trying to do bigger and better. Another that sequelitis thing I was talking about with part 2. A lot of the scare stuff just didn't work for me. It was just too in your face, it was too haunted house, it was too jump scary. It was just and not in a good way. I mean, I never felt like the real sense of dread. All the darkness in this movie came from the real life abuse stuff, which I didn't really
Yeah.
particularly care for.
Well, and it's interesting. This might explain some of the stuff that we like that because of that. So Adam Robitel, his movie he did right before this is his second feature. His first feature was The Taking of Deborah Logan, another
Mm,
incredibly dark film
yeah.
that touches on a lot of real topics mixed into a found footage horror film. So it's you go through that whole Alzheimer dementia
Yeah.
representation, and so it's dark, but it's real, and if you've experienced that in your life, you can kind of sense those themes right away. So I guess, yeah, I guess this director maybe that's why he was chosen because based on the story, they wanted someone that could present. Oh, he actually wrote it too. He wrote Deborah Logan also. So so you could kind of see where he's coming
Yeah,
from
and
there.
to be fair, I'm my my personal distaste of the whole physical abuse angle of this is probably a credit to how good he is at portraying it. Like, it's not I
Yeah.
don't wanna say it's a negative that is in this movie. Like, he does a really good job of portraying it to the point that we were comfortable about it. Now to
Yeah.
me, that lessened my opinion of the movie, but that's just like I said, don't take that necessarily as a flaw. It's just a testament to how good he was at kind of bringing out this real life darkness. But, you know, for me, something just did not quite work with this movie, and I can't really put my finger on it. Um,
Yeah, and Lee
it's got that
Whannell wrote this too. He wrote this one also, but it
yeah.
shows when he didn't direct it that the whole, I guess we'll say again, the vibe was different.
I feel like if he had I mean, I just kinda think of an alternate universe where if he had directed this one, I think he would've probably toned down that real life darkness in some aspect of it. I
Yeah,
feel like it would have felt different. I don't want to say again, I don't want to say lighter, but I feel like Lee Wanell has a lightness to his directing that kind of cuts through the horror. And there's a
yeah,
I don't know how to explain it. I guess you could see it best in his portrayal of the Specs character. I think he
yeah,
has a good sense of humor, and I think that sense of humor sometimes cuts through even when he's not being humorous. I feel like there's some certain amount of lightness that cuts through that takes the edge off of the, like, really, really dark aspects, and I just wonder what this movie would have been like.
yeah, and I'm gonna point out something that kind of sets that theory. Kind of cements your theory there. So the only light spots in this movie are when he's in it, acting. So remember, he
Yeah.
wrote this character but he didn't direct, so he couldn't really control all the other characters' action, but he controlled his own, and he knew how he wanted to portray it. So that's why Specs gets really funny and goofy when he's trying to when him and Angus Sampson are trying to hit on the girl,
Yeah.
the daughters, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I'm like, okay, well, there's the comedy in this. It's very dark, and they're kind of doing it's so awkward and so like like, poor they just have no game. I mean, he's got a little more game, I guess, than
And
Tucker does. Tucker
this yeah, well,
but
this is where Specs and Tucker became, like we mentioned in our last episode, they became a
yeah,
little bit cartoonish, but I think they
but
almost
more
did that
so
on
because of
purpose.
what happens. But I think it's
Yeah.
more because of the rest of the film. Now that we're
Yeah.
discussing it, I'm like, "Oh, you know what? Maybe that assessment was more based on the way this film was so dark, and then now their comedic things, which work so well in the other ones, now looks misplaced."
Yeah, like, it's almost like they went a little too far in the comedic direction to try to offset the darkness here, but it's so the contrast is so great. Or maybe they didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same level, but we view it as more comedic because it's contrasted with such a dark subject matter.
Hey, yeah, that would be interesting, literally, to just watch all of their scenes back to back, just
Of
their
all the movies,
sequences
yeah,
and things.
yeah,
Yeah,
to
and
see.
see how if they actually change, or is it the movie around them change?
Yeah,
Because I have
you're
a
right,
feeling it's the
you're right.
movie around them change. Because you gotta think when they introduce them, they're first, you could tell they're a little funny and they're goofy, but they kind of reel it in, but also because I think at this point, remember, we're seeing them after this third one, after this four so it's almost we're seeing it kind of backwards too. So,
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to just, like, segment their scenes
Maybe a
out and
super
watch
cut
them
of
just them.
Specs and Tucker. Yeah,
Yeah,
we need a
the Specs cut.
Specs and yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but yeah, there's something just off about this movie. It seemed disjointed a little bit.
Yeah, it seemed disjointed. And you couple it with the dark subject matter, and it's not that it's a bad movie. I actually enjoyed it
No.
more than I did when I first watched it. Because I remember when I first watched this, I kind of just dismissed it out of hand. I was like, it wasn't that good. When I watched it, I saw a lot of things I did like about this movie. So I do think I won't say solid. I don't want to say solid entry. It's an acceptable entry in the franchise.
Yeah,
It's not
that's a good
terrible.
word. Yeah.
But for me, it did not rise to the level of the first three, and that's why it's
Right.
where I put it.
Look at that. Look, it's right in its spot, fourth.
It's
Well, now
exactly
that I
where it
spoiled
needs
that,
to
but
be. It's
obviously,
exactly where it needs to
yeah.
be. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think this is where the franchise really jumps the shark. Like I don't think, even though we didn't care for two as much as we thought, I think three, you definitely can't say the franchise jumped the shark with three, because I thought it was a good movie. I liked it.
Yeah.
I think this is the first. I think this is the first entry where I go, okay, maybe it's time. This should have been called quits.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't enjoy it at that level. Which brings us to the
And
most
then we
recent
get
entry.
Red Door.
Oh my God! What about?
Yeah. And I am gonna say one thing. To me, this is like the Star Trek V. You give the main star of the movie, of the first, you give him the directorial reins,
Mm-mm.
just like they gave William Shatner the director's reins of Star Trek V, and then you get a
I
kind of a boring movie. Uh,
Yeah, this is Insidious: The Red Door, 2023, directed by Patrick Wilson, and God bless him. I love Patrick Wilson, love him to death.
oh yeah, no, and
But
nothing. Yeah, I don't mean to criticize him because
but
he's one of my favorite
he
actors
probably
out
needs to
there.
stick to he probably needs to stick to acting.
Yeah.
um,
He's not spec
uh,
level yet. When you're in a
yeah,
movie, I think briefly you can get away with directing and acting, but it's a lot harder when you're in it as much as he is and supposed to be,
yeah. Well, he returns as
uh,
Josh Lambert. He's now divorced from Renee Lambert, again played by Rose Byrne. I don't know if they were really divorced or separated. I can't remember. They're apart.
I
Uh,
think they were divorced because he yells at her,
He
goes,
just
"That's why
he
mom
says
divorced you,"
ex-wife.
or something.
Yeah, he says ex-wife at one point, I think.
Yeah,
Ty Simpkins is plays Dalton Lambert, grown now. He's a college student.
yeah,
Lynn Shay as Elise Rainier. She appears in like a flashback
uh,
or a
yeah,
thing, not a flashback, but a
or
video,
flash forward or whatever, a vision.
whatever
Yeah,
it is.
she's
Leywin comes back as Specs, Angus Sampson as Tucker.
very small
Steve,
roles in this one. Yeah, they're
yeah,
very
everything's
they kind of
diminished.
took away. Yeah, they took away like honestly, they took away three of the best elements of the first two series. Some of that. So it's like it's kind of like it was already struggling from that.
I think that's another reason this one didn't do great. Steve Coulter is Carl and Andrew Astor is Foster Lambert. Lambert's supposed to go deeper into the further than ever before to put their demons to rest once and for all. Now, on paper, this would
Yeah.
actually sounded like an interesting premise. Dalton's now grown. This whole thing has like broken up the family. Dalton doesn't have a great relationship with his dad. He, Josh is
Or
now
his mom, you
divorced.
find out technically
Yeah,
either.
or
He
his
doesn't really
mom.
have one with
Yeah,
his mom either.
so this has really just screwed this whole family up. This is obviously years later. Um, on paper, that kind of sounds like an interesting concept, and then they take this away from the house, and now you see that this is kind of following Dalton to college, and he's still under the influence of this stuff of the further, and all on paper that kind of actually sounds pretty interesting. I think the
It
problem
seems
is,
like the natural progression if you were gonna go on from number 2 into the future and not do a prequels, it's the logical explanation. Because if you kept the kids the same age and you just did another story, like, a year later, you'd be like, "Alright, already with this."
yeah, no, it
Unfortunately,
it makes sense from a
yeah,
plot perspective.
yeah.
But I think the problem is, I texted Brian this while I was watching this. I said, literally every character in this movie is insufferable to me. You have now Brian likes the college roommate character.
Yeah, I liked
Um,
her, she was fun. I don't
I
know, I didn't
I did
mind her.
not I didn't like I found her completely insufferable. She was like there's a TikTok girl that does she she does these sketches where she's like insufferable lead of every romantic comedy, or
Oh, I think I
insufferable
saw her. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
insufferable girlfriend. Like this is like the insufferable college roommate who's kind of quirky and wacky, and uh I don't know. I didn't care for her character at all. But like every character in this movie is unlikable.
You know what I liked about her is because she kind of like she played off well. Dalton is just like, had become this moody, I'm not going to speak teenager. So you almost needed to make the person that goes with him over talkative. Except I think the
Yeah.
balance was slightly off. Like they could have toned her down a drop and moved him up a little bit. And it would have been, I think
Yeah.
you
I
I
I could
can't, assume you'd like it better, but I'm just saying I think I do see why she could be perceived as unlikable because she is so over the top, and in contrast to
yeah.
him being like nothing, and he never changes in it really either, which is weird because you figure like at some point he should like I don't know, start reacting a little different, and not against the actor is not bad. I mean, he was good and remember he was in the Iron Man 3 and
Yeah,
he
and
played that kid
I don't wanna
Harvey, but
say when I say I find these characters insufferable, I'm not saying anything about the actors at all. Like,
yeah.
the cast is great, and they did what they were supposed to do. Um, I didn't like the character of the roommate, but you're right. I mean, I think she had to be a little extreme to balance out him, but it just made them all unlikable to me. But I think the worst sin of this movie is it's just boring, and it's got that. I hate to say it. I don't know how many movies. This is the only movie Patrick Wilson's directed. Is it the first one he directed? I have no idea.
I
But
don't know,
it
I'm gonna check
has,
while you say your point.
yeah. Why you say check that, because it has the tinge of the first time director doesn't know how to pace a movie feel to me. Like
Yes, that is a good
it's
point.
it's boring to me. Like, yeah, if there was part like this movie felt like a slog to get through. I had actually seen this one. I couldn't remember if I'd seen it before or not. After I got to about maybe the 20-minute mark, I was like, "Oh yeah, I did see this," and I remember I didn't like it at all. And my rewatch did not change my opinion. I think I even liked it
So that
less.
is his first. You were right. That is
Yeah,
his first.
it's and this again, I love Patrick Wilson. I'm not bashing Patrick Wilson whatsoever. He's one of my favorites. But it just to me, it has the feeling of an inexperienced director that doesn't quite know how to pace correctly, and
Actually,
that's why it brings some boringness to it.
yeah, I wanna make that thing it almost, like, has no pace until the last, like, 10, 15 minutes, and you can't and now while granted, you and I love a slow burn, but that slow burn has to build to something. It didn't build, it stayed stagnant, and then, boom, we're gonna give you the last
Well,
15 minutes of a lot of crazy shit going on,
and a
you
slow
know?
burn also implies that there's a steadily increasing tension. It's not that
Yeah.
there's no tension,
Yeah, I felt
it
like there
like
was nothing going on. Like, you could have
yeah,
started this movie in the middle of it, and you would have still got the same impact at the end as you would have watching the whole thing, and that should
yeah,
never be the case. You should not be able to you have to be invested in a movie from the beginning to the end, or it doesn't always work, and I think that's what this is. Like, and the reason why I'm saying this is because I had to just because of life going on with things, I had to keep breaking this up, and it took me over like I watched it over, like, 3 days, and it was
yeah.
because I, like, couldn't like, every time I'd start it, I'd be like, "Ugh, where was I again? Oh, wait, do I gotta go back? I don't remember what's going on. He's being moody. Okay, this is where I was. Oh, no, wait, I don't remember this. Oh, wait, no, he's being moody 25 minutes ago too, and that's
If
where I
you're
left off."
yeah, if you're going to where he's being moody, you're never gonna find the right timestamp because he's
Exactly, you will never
oh my
find where
god.
you left off, but that's the problem, and it's not I don't yeah, and I think you nailed it on the head. It's like, a director's skill is twofold. I think you need to have a hold on your characters, and you need to have the right pacing. Now granted, could some of that pacing be fixed with a good editing job? I think you can mask it. I think you put a Band-Aid on it, but you can't fix it. And I think
Yeah.
because everything else doesn't align, but I think that's where this was and, again, I love Patrick Wilson, I think he's one of my favorite actors out there, he's incredibly talented, and I would still watch something he directed because I think he'll get better,
Yeah.
um, and it's like, I just yeah, I think it was the lack of pace that was it, it's not even that it's bad pacing, there was no pacing, I feel
I get
like.
I wanna say this because we Brian and I watch so many indie horror movies, so many. and I see the same thing come up over and over and over again. So I will, and I'm not saying I'm a filmmaking expert. I've never made a movie in my life, so I'm not trying to proclaim that I'm any better than anybody out there. I'm just saying what I've observed after watching hundreds of indie horror films, and that is, I think the cardinal sin I see happen over and over and over more than anything else. You can get past bad acting. You can get past low budget. You can get past kind of shoddy special effects. You can get past all that. You cannot get past boring the audience. You just
Yeah.
can't get past it. And that's where I see, especially first time filmmakers, when they're doing these indie projects and it's their first feature or whatever, the thing I see the most often cardinal sin is bad pacing and the movie just being uninteresting. Scenes go
Yeah.
on too long.
And I think now
Yeah.
more so than ever, because it is a like an instant gratification society now. We're on our phones. You can watch a movie on your phone. You get news 1 second after it happens.
Yeah.
You can't. So when you now, so a movie when you get a movie that bores you like this, what do you end up doing?
Yep, you're looking at
Hmm.
your phone. Yeah.
You look at your phone. Sorry, you could. I realized only Tim could
Yeah.
see my action there. But, which brings us to the point where we do wanna do video podcasts again. But yeah, so I think that's yeah, like, so it's like it's really hard, and especially one that is almost 2 hours long. Like, it was way too long, they could have cut out half of it. I like, you get the crazy art teacher, which I don't even know why she was crazy. It's it's like
But you think about it, y this is where I think the disconnect is sometimes with these directors. They're putting in these scenes because they find them interesting because they helped write it or they're shooting it. So it's interesting to them because they're having to shoot it and they're having to do the logistics of getting the actors set up, and they don't remember that it's the audience that they've got to
yeah,
entertain. The audience is the one that has to be interested. So that scene that you're filming needs to be interesting for the audience first, and everything else comes second. And
mm,
that's where I see, God, man, I've seen so many movies where I go, this movie could have been good if they had just known when to cut this scene or when to make this more interesting or when to leave this out. Like you don't need this, or
yeah,
and it's kind of it's sometimes frustrating as a viewer to see that and be like, you were so close. You were so close, Patrick Wilson, but you didn't need
yeah.
this, you didn't need that. Um, like I'm telling Patrick Wilson how to do his job. Like
I
I'm
know,
some
wouldn't it be funny
but
if he
anyway,
just calls you get a
yeah, it's
text, "Tim,
like, "You son of a
I
bitch."
heard."
Like, I'm
I
never
said, "How
coming on your
dare you?
podcast.
I've given you a wonderful Conjuring franchise, and now you shit on me for one mistake."
You just you proclaim me so you sung my praises for Conjuring Last Rites, and you just trashed me in front of America,
Yeah,
on
I
my
know.
directorial debut. But anyway. No,
But yeah, no,
like I said,
I think, but I think honestly, there's really, I don't know how much more to go into this because there's really like it's just not a lot there. In other
I
words,
will
I
say
mean, I will say I liked the way they wrapped up the ending. It was a very nice ending that could have been honestly like the last 10 minutes could have been just tacked on one of the other ones. I would have been okay with it
yeah.
because the lead up to it was just excruciating, and I feel terrible saying that.
I think it's clearly the last one. Like, it's clearly the worst one in the franchise. Clearly to
Yeah,
me. Like, there's no this one wasn't even hard to rank. Like, I thought the minute I saw this, I'm like, yeah, that's the worst one, period.
yeah,
Which this
yeah.
whole
Same,
franchise
same.
actually was very easy to rank for me. Like, there was number 4
This was
was
one of the easier
obviously,
ones. Yeah,
yeah, number 1 was obviously the best. Number 5 was
yeah,
obviously the worst. And then
yeah.
number 4 was obviously number 4. It was just a
Yeah,
matter
it's
of 2
just
and
no way
3.
else to do it. I know
There
we
was
don't
no
even
other.
need to go through the rankings because we kind of gave it away, but that's
We
what it
gave it
was.
away.
It was literally
Yeah, it
1,
was.
3, 2, 4, 5, and
That's it. And we both agreed, which
I
is
don't think
rare.
it'll change. I don't think it's
No,
one
it's
of
not
those
gonna change.
ones that like, "Oh, maybe I'll rewatch it again, I'll have a different video." No, because 1 was great because it was what it was, and, my theory on 1, we don't need to go over that.
Yeah.
It earned its place, so to keep it there. And 3, again, what I noticed the 3s of some of these movies are really, or then some of these are good, like, we love the 3rd Children of the Corn. Um, I think, though, the Tremors 3 wasn't as good, right? That's where we Did we not like? I can't remember that
Yeah,
one. That was the one we
in
weren't.
fact,
I
4 was
didn't
the
like it as
gym.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
4
4
was
was
the
the
gym
gem
and
of that
Tremors.
one. But yeah,
2
and
just 2 just suffered from sequelitis. 2 could have been the second
yeah,
best, but I think it just
right,
went too far into that
right.
direction. It just became too much noise.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, overall, I mean, but 3 also, I feel like it needs to get a reward. Like, it needs
it
to
does.
reward, so it should hold that spot because of all those things we said it did, how it did some and Stephanie Scott's portrayal of Quinn was so good that
Yeah,
it basically earned its place to jump ahead
it did. It did
of number
something
2.
absolutely. I think it earned its place, and I don't get the people that put this one like 4 or 5. Number 3
Yeah, I
should
guess,
never be 4
especially
or
with
5. I
4
don't
and 5 were existing,
Yeah.
World War
Yeah,
4 and
so
5 exist. Maybe you could put it that way before those 2 came out, but
I
and
think
make it
every
last, but
franchise we've done this summer Slaycation has had an undiscovered not undiscovered, but like a underrated gem. And for Children of the Corn,
yes.
it was part 3. For
Yeah,
Tremors, it was part 4, and for this one, it's part 3. I think this is your
yeah,
underrated gem. So if you haven't seen all of these, I will say go see chapter
yes.
3 and let me know what you think because that would
Yeah,
be my
it's really good.
underrated gem of this. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed Summer Slaycation. Again, sorry we didn't get it
Yes.
right in on time, but kind of maybe we were still a little bit late. We had life stuff come up. I mean,
Yeah,
it
it's
just
hard. I
happens.
mean, I kind of I moved, across, so we've been setting up the house, which is a slow
We've had
slog.
a lot of travel stuff
Yeah,
has
some
messed us
travel
up.
in there,
We had some
but
interviews
now it's
that
kind of yeah, but I mean, now it's kind of fun because we're gonna kinda go right into the horror challenge and the haunt season, and it's like, it's like, I mean, like, think about it, Horror Nights has already been going, like, 2 I think a week or 2 weeks in Orlando. It just started last week in, Hollywood. I'll be going in 2 weeks, so I'll be able to report back on that. We definitely need a preview show, I think, for this year's horror challenge for sure, because
oh,
we
and
really
I'm
need to
doing
go
some
into that.
I'm doing some fun stuff for haunt season because I'm going back
Oh,
up to my
yeah, yeah.
dad's for his party, so I'll have a report on that. I just got
Oh, we
tickets
gotta do
for
our home haunts, our home
oh
decorations.
yeah, we're doing
We
our
need
home
those we
decorations.
need videos on those.
I just got tickets for the family to see Amy Bruni from Ghost Hunters. She's doing a show here
Oh, cool.
locally where she does a true crime ghost story show. So that's gonna be fun. Yeah, Brian's got
My haunt
animatronics
stuff.
already. Oh, he's got
Yeah,
all
that's
his
my
haunt stuff.
haunt
Mine's
stuff.
still in the attic. Um,
Well, that box is filled with a ton of stuff, and then we still need to get a couple more things, like, I need to order the projector, for my mirror thing, and Julie's getting involved in it, which is exciting because she's the fixer, so she probably will anything that I would have probably ruined, she's gonna figure out a way to make sure it's fixed. So, got a lot of
yeah,
cool
so
stuff over there.
we got a lot of fun stuff planned. So it's gonna be
Yeah.
fun. And the horror movie challenge is gonna be insane this year. Just
Oh,
telling you.
it's gonna be yeah, like, you may want let me put it this way, I am gonna try my best to get it out there, get it done by this I don't know if I can, I'm going away this weekend, but hopefully by next week so we can kind of make a mini-sode to go over this so you have at least a full 2 weeks of research because I think you're gonna need it.
I'm even scared of being able to do this one, especially with me and Brian's
Yeah.
self-imposed rule that we have to watch movies that we haven't seen before, which gets really
Yeah,
hard.
that one's
Um,
I told Tim, I said, "I maybe have to break it this year, we'll have to see."
yeah,
But well,
but
I'm gonna try for it, but it's not a it's again, remember, that is just that's a bonus, that has nothing to do with any kind
yeah, it
of
doesn't count. Yeah.
like, no kind of restriction or points or anything for that one,
Oh,
but
and we are we are going to probably be doing some video episodes. Uh,
yes.
when we record on Riverside, we could have released this as a video episode because we just record ourselves talking, and I think that would be fine. I think we could release those as episodes on YouTube because our YouTube channel. I didn't realize it until I started going back and looking at stats. Our YouTube channel actually gets quite a lot of listens from our podcast, of
Interesting.
just the audio,
Just
which
people
doesn't
staring at the logo listening.
yeah, they're just staring at the logo, but all of our audio episodes are uploaded to YouTube automatically.
Yeah,
So we're actually getting a lot of traction there. So I think if we added video to
yeah,
those, I think it would really boost our listenership. So I'm thinking of very seriously of just starting to do record audio for these Riverside and post them straight to YouTube. Now those will be raw and unedited,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but people are okay with that because you will also have the edited audio only version will also go to YouTube. But yeah, let us know if you guys are
Great.
interested in that kind of thing. But so yeah, so we will see you back here soon. We'll have our horror movie preview challenge. We'll have all the haunt stuff coming up. Yeah, lots of good stuff in store.
Look out for the further.
Yes, stay out of the further. or go back to the further.
I don't know why we're saying it like John Houseman, but whatever.
I was trying to say it like Doc Brown, Back to the Future. It's
Oh,
your kid's body.
You know what? Speaking of that, I know how everyone likes my Macho Man impersonation, but I watched some guy the other day did a perfect one, and he explained how he did it. And he says you actually need to to get the perfect Macho Man, you need the deep voice. And he said the reason why he started doing it because him and his roommate at the time used to watch wrestling when Macho Man was big. I think I saved it somewhere. I got to send this to you. It's hilarious.
I think I saw
he
that
says,
video.
Yeah, where he's like, "Well, you gotta pay the electric bill." Like, and he was doing that. He's like, and he was doing this whole thing. And they like, anytime they had a roommate like issue come up, like with the apartment or something, they would do it in the Macho Man voice. And it was like, and then he said it became like his impersonation. It's freaking hilarious. I'm pretty sure I saved it. I'll send it to you. But if you might have
send
seen
it to me
but
just in case. Yeah, send it to me just in case.
And we gotta also. I should share somehow. I gotta repost that guy doing the oh my god, the Dr. Loomis thing we saw today. That guy is brilliant.
Yes, that was great. Dr. Guy that does Dr. Loomis cosplay. It's hilarious.
Yeah, he's like dead on because he wears it. It's like so like he has the worst bald head thing and it's
worst bald
trench
cap
coat.
ever.
But he's just like he captures the Donald Pleasance like movements and
the way he limps is like spot on. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like it's so good. We almost should try and get him on the podcast.
Yes,
I would say
that'd be awesome.
we had to have you come on because you're cracking me up. We actually have some other interviews I'm trying to line up too. So hopefully,
we're gonna do an episode on
that one, too. I forgot.
Yeah, we're gonna do an episode on horror vinyls, and it's not gonna necessarily just be soundtracks. A buddy of mine's gonna come on, and he's gonna do a we're gonna do like albums in the Halloween spirit. So they may not necessarily be horror soundtracks, but they could be anything that kind of has that Halloween spooky vibe to it, Halloween party vibe to it.
Oh, that's cool.
And we're gonna come out and show some of our vinyl records off, and we're gonna do that one on video so that you guys can see the album covers and everything. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
we got
that'll be a fun one. Tim's definitely gonna take the lead on that one because I have like 7 vinyls and Tim's got 700. So.
But yeah, that would be great. All right, guys, we'll see you back here soon.
We'll see you soon.